So, folks, we got to talk about the weirdly snowballing scandal that is happening right now because Donald Trump's brain is leaking out of his ears. This is not hyperbole. Donald Trump is going insane in real time on publicly, extraordinarily publicly, and this is a story also about the fact that Donald Trump has apparently, in the process of his worsening dementia, insanity, etc., has, he's taken on an air of divinity, we'll say. Here he is blessing one of his adherents.
Thank you. Go do what you're doing.
You're a beautiful guy. Great fighter.
Thank you. Put me to model here when they stop the fight.
I'll give you a model. You look so good. You're too good looking to be a fighter. You are a silk fighter. Thank you, man.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
That's funny.
Yeah, so that was happening, by the way, as the talks in Iran broke down. And, of course, it wouldn't be complete for us to talk about exactly how Donald Trump is doing without this, video of him just looking so hale and vigorous in both body and the mind. Look at the intense focus, the sheer athletic ability of him staring intensely at these stairs. That man is closer to death every single time he takes a step down an incline than he was at that rally where his ear got nicked, okay? Like, every time he goes down some stairs, he's rolling the dice. But that's okay, because he rigs the dice. Because as we know, now and forever, Donald Trump is highly regarded among the evangelical community here in America, but not quite so much by the Catholics or the Catholic community in Vatican City, as it were. Especially not with the guy that runs Vatican City. Here's Pope Leo the 14th. Been 14 Leos. It's crazy. I mean, I wonder how many Sagittariuses have been in the papacy. Anyway, that was a bad joke. Hundreds of millions of people throughout the world are immersed in extreme poverty, yet disproportionate wealth remains in the hands of a few. It is an unjust scenario, in the face of which we cannot fail to question ourselves and commit to change things. There is no lack of resources at the root of disparities, but the need to address solvable problems related to a more equitable distribution of wealth to be achieved with moral sense and honesty. God does not bless any conflict. Anyone who is a disciple of Christ, the Prince of Peace, is never on the side of those who wielded the sword and today drop bombs. Military action will not create space for freedom or times of peace. Hashtag peace. Which comes only from the patient promotion of coexistence and dialogue among peoples. Absurd and inhuman violence is spreading ferociously through the sacred places of the Christian East, profaned by the blasphemy of war and the brutality of business, with no regard for people's lives, which are considered at most collateral damage of self-interest. Basically, the Pope was coming out here and basically subtweeting Donald Trump, I guess. And this did not go over very well with Donald Trump, who, was this just yesterday? Because time has ceased meaning anything. Yeah, I guess this was just yesterday. Pope Leo is weak on crime and terrible for foreign policy. He talks about fear that the Catholic Church, or the Trump administration, but doesn't mention the fear that the Catholic Church and all other Christian organizations had during COVID, when they were arresting priests, ministers, and everybody else for holding church services even when going outside and being 10 and even 20 feet apart. I like his brother Louis much better than I like him because Louis is all MAGA. He gets it and Leo doesn't. Oh, I'm seeing some people say that never happened. Well, what he is trying to say here is that there in MAGA world, there is this pervasive belief that the government during COVID cracked down on churches and prevented churches from meeting, which just isn't that isn't true. And again, churches were able to continue meeting. You could have online services, you could have them outside, etc. Like, nothing about this was ever, hey, let's stop Christians from being able to practice.
The Eric Swalwell situation?
I will later tonight, El Moco, but thank you for the tier 1 sub. But basically, it was entirely about large gatherings of people in poorly ventilated space in close proximity with each other. No one was being arrested for being 20 feet apart during the pandemic. And like, this is all pretty bullshit, frankly. But moving on. I don't want a pope who thinks it's okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon. I don't want a pope who thinks it's terrible that America attacked Venezuela, a country that was sending massive amounts of drugs into the United States, and even worse, emptying their prisons, including murderers, drug dealers, and killers, into our country. And I don't want a pope who criticizes the president of the United States because I'm doing exactly what I was elected in a landslide to do, setting record low numbers in crime and creating the greatest stock market in history. Leo should be thankful because, as everyone knows, he was a shocking surprise. He wasn't on any list to be Pope and was only put there by the church because he was an American, and they thought that would be the best way to deal with President Donald J. Trump. If I wasn't in the White House, Leo wouldn't be in the Vatican. Unfortunately, Leo's weak on crime, weak on nuclear weapons, does not sit well with me, nor does the fact that he meets with Obama sympathizers like David Axelrod, a loser from the left who is one of those who wanted churchgoers and clerics to be arrested. Leo should get his act together as Pope, use common sense, stop catering to the radical left, and focus on being a great Pope, not a politician. It's hurting him very badly, and more importantly, it's hurting the Catholic Church. President Donald J. Trump. Like, this is fucking lunacy, right? Like, one, the popes are famously not apolitical. The pope is directly a political position. Who the fuck cares what Donald Trump wants in a pope? He's not Catholic. He's not even a Christian. If his life depended on him naming a book of the Bible, I genuinely don't know if he'd be able to do it. I like 2 Corinthians. His favorite scripture is all of them. That's real. That's a real quote, by the way. Should we wait till midterms for impeachment hearings? No. There should be an impeachment circus that happens constantly for the next, 3 years. You know? But, let's see. Maybe he has some good reasons for attacking the Pope.
Going to go back, filled up with oil. Okay?
Why did you attack Pope Leo on Truth Social?
I don't think he's doing a very good job. He likes crime, I guess. He hit us. Think of it. He's worried about fear. What about the fear when the ministers and the priests and all of those great people that were arrested during COVID, and in many cases they're outside 10 feet apart and they were arrested. So we don't like it. We don't like a pope that's going to say that it's okay to have a nuclear weapon. We don't want a pope that says crime is okay in our cities. I don't like it. I'm not a big fan of Pope Leo. He's a very liberal person, and he's a man that doesn't believe in stopping crime. He's a man that doesn't think that we should be toying with a country that wants a nuclear weapon so they can blow up the world. No, I'm not.
I want to emphasize to everybody, Donald Trump was the president of the United States for the majority of the initial outbreak years of the pandemic. This is really stupid. And yeah, those bad things that were happening when I was president. Yeah, the Pope should be thanking us for those bad things happening. Like, what are you talking? Stop it, you incoherent bitch. Stop it. I'm just like, the Pope is the voice of God, isn't he? 2 Catholics the Pope is the closest you are going to get to God on earth. Like, the Pope is officially vested with the keys to the kingdom from Peter, passed on down, right? Like, in Catholic doctrine, the Pope is like the guy who is closest to God on earth. And so, like, this is like him being like, I'm gonna attack the Pope. This is crazy. This is just insane, right? And I want to, like, hammer home, it gets worse. This is a real post that Donald J. Trump posted shortly after making that insane rant about Pope Leo, right? Which, I want you all to note, depicts Donald Trump as Jesus Christ healing someone who is sick, that I do want to note poses a striking resemblance to Donald Trump's best friend, Jeffrey Epstein. And I just want to really hammer home here, this is insane. This is just insane. This is delusional. This is insane. We've gotten to the point where the President of the United States is literally making posts to try and own the Pope by claiming to be God. This, of course, led to a lot of consternation among basically everybody. Here is Pope Leo talking about the entire situation on CNN.
I have no fear of the Trump administration, nor speaking out loudly about the message of the gospel. And that's what I believe. I am called to know what the church is called to do. We're not politicians. We're not looking to make foreign policy with the same perspective that we might understand it. But I do believe that the message of the gospel, blessed are the peacemakers, is the message of the Lord needs to be. I have.
And here he is elaborating a little bit more.
I will not shy away from announcing the message of the gospel, of inviting all people to look for ways of building bridges for peace and reconciliation, of looking for ways to avoid war anytime that's possible. To put my message on the same plane as what the president has attempted to do here, I think is not understanding what the message of the gospel is.
And I do want to say, right, like, I'm not Catholic. You know, I don't believe that this guy has any inherent divine power of any kind. But I will note that a lot of people do think this guy has divine power. A lot of people. And whether you are a Catholic or an evangelical, Donald Trump posting an image of himself as God is it's blasphemy. It's heresy. You know, you're like, he's effectively spitting on your religion if you believe any of these things, right? And, like, it's pretty clear that the position of the church in general has been anti-war for quite some time now, right? Here is the Cardinal Cupich.
Cardinal Cupich not only takes issue with the war, but also what he calls the gamification of how the White House has portrayed it on social media.
Flawless victory.
We're dehumanizing the victims of war by turning the suffering of people and the killing of children and our own soldiers into entertainment.
You called it sickening.
It is sickening.
I mean, like, this isn't the difficult problem to have. The issue is the MAGA base that all fashion themselves as Christian, that build themselves up as Christians. They reject the message of their own holy book, right? I mean, here's J.D. Vance desperately trying to explain away the obvious insanity of Donald Trump.
Has expressed problems with the war.
This is very quiet. I'm going to make it louder real quick.
Ron says that we should be peacemakers, been very vocal. The president took to Truth Social saying Leo should be thankful because, as everyone knows, he was a shocking surprise. He wasn't on any list to be pope, was only put there because of the church, because he was an American. They thought he would be good, best way to deal with President Donald J. Trump. If I wasn't in the White House, Leo wouldn't be in the Vatican. Just wondering, as a Catholic, how you...
I do want to say it is bizarre how they whitewash him.
I want to know, what stage of dementia does Trump have? Is this even dementia or beyond? We are so fucked. Aside from that looking nice streamer in chat.
Thank you, Midnight and All Night. I will say that, like, I don't know what stage we're at, but I can tell you that when somebody starts publicly having delusions of being a god, that is some pretty deep delusion. Like he should not be in charge of anything while experiencing that kind of a break with reality. It's genuinely scary. It's terrifying. This guy has the ability to launch nuclear weapons. He thinks that he's God. You think he's been posting stuff like about how he has the power to annihilate Iran at any time within an hour. Like, he's embracing this idea of himself as like a deity or a deific figure in a way that is very scary. And I think that in turn could lead us down some extraordinarily dangerous paths. Is he more insane than a mad king? I don't know. Like, we're in Emperor Has No Clothes territory, and this is the kind of thing that makes people notice, oh wait, that guy's fucking naked. You know? And it's terrifying.
You consider this Truth Social post, and then the post of the picture, which a lot of people took as the president posting a picture of himself as Jesus. He later said that he posted it as thinking as a doctor saving people.
I thought it was me as a doctor, and had to do with Red Cross, as a Red Cross worker there, which we support, and only the fake news could come up with that one.
But
I'm sorry. I'm real sorry. Number one, there is no Red Cross in this image. Number two, he's not dressed like a doctor. No doctor has ever been dressed like this as long as the United States has existed. I'm sorry, he's just lying. Like, he knows he's lying. It is obvious that he is lying. And he knows that this has been incredibly damaging for him because he's deleted this post off of Truth Social. It's one of the very few things he's deleted from Truth Social. Genuinely terrifying stuff, folks.
But it really caused a kerfuffle, Mr. Vice President. I'm just wondering what you make of all of this, and whether it's what you think of this back and forth with the church.
Well, first of all, Brett, I think the president was posting a joke, and of course he took it down because he recognized that a lot of people weren't understanding his humor in that case.
Ha 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 ha! It's just a joke of him trying to fight the Pope, the person who's the head of the religion I profess to be. Ha ha! I wrote an entire book about how I'm a devout Catholic now, and now the president is beefing with the head of my religion. Ha ha! It was just a joke. He's not actually mad at the Pope, guys. The Pope isn't weak on crime. This is a fun game we're all playing. Ha ha ha! You guys just didn't get it. Ha ha ha! God.
I would be very worried if he broke out the God Emperor of Mankind stuff from term 1.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting closer. I mean, if you look at the image, one of the angels emerging from the heavens kind of looks like a Gundam or like some kind of Warhammer figure. I don't know if anyone noticed that, but we're not that far away from this.
I think the president of the United States likes to mix it up on social media, and I actually think that's one of the good things about this president is that he's not filtered. He doesn't send everything through a communications professional. He actually reaches out directly to the people. When it comes to the disagreements with the Vatican, look, we're going to have disagreements, Brett, from time to time. I think it's a good thing, actually, that the Pope is advocating for the things that he cares about. But we're always going to have disagreements on matters of public policy, or I should say, sometimes we're going to have disagreements on matters of public policy. The Pope has been critical of our immigration policy, but ultimately the immigration policy of the United States is set by Donald Trump. The Pope is going to have disagreements on other issues. We can respect the Pope. We certainly have a good relationship with the Vatican, but we're also going to disagree on substantive questions from time to time. I think that's a totally reasonable.
I'm gonna disagree with the voice of God on earth here. What kind of qualifications does the voice of God have? Okay, has it taken like any kind of does the voice of God, has it taken any kind of like international relation classes? Like, this man is a Catholic. What are you doing?
Reasonable thing and isn't particularly newsworthy.
Do you think that when the president says it's hurting him, has expressed?
It's all so stupid. And of course, after JD Vance, put this out yesterday, so this was posted around 5:30 p.m. yesterday. Okay. And by yesterday, I mean 7.5 hours ago. Well, it's all just a joke. Ha ha. Ha. Haha. Then Donald Trump spoke with CBS, and this story ran at around 7:53 p.m. Eastern Time. Trump told CBS News senior correspondent Nora O'Donnell that Pope Leo is wrong on the issues Monday after lashing out at the pontiff late Sunday, calling him weak on crime. In a phone interview, Mr. Trump confirmed that he had watched 60 Minutes, which highlighted Pope Leo's disapproval of mass deportations in the Iran war, before firing off the post. When asked if he had plans to call the Pope directly, Mr. Trump gave a firm no. He's wrong on the issues, Mr. Trump said of Pope Leo. I don't think he should be getting into politics. I think he probably learned that from this. The president admitted he was surprised by the backlash from the Christian right over the now deleted AI image he posted to Truth Social on Sunday night, which depicted him as a Jesus-like figure. He said he thought the image was by a very beautiful and talented artist, and said he believed the photo was intended to depict him as a doctor and not Jesus. Why lie? Why lie and say you thought this was by a very beautiful and talented artist? The artist was so talented and so beautiful. Just had the kind of cake you just want to eat. You know what I'm saying? Like, why lie about the sexual desirability of a fictional artist that doesn't exist? Because it's very clearly AI, and we know that because we've seen it posted by other folks in the past in like slightly altered versions. I viewed that as a picture of me being a doctor and fixing. You had the Red Cross right there. You had, medical people surrounding me. And I was like the doctor, as a little fun playing the doctor and making people better. So that's what it was viewed as. That's what most people thought. I guarantee you, most people did not look at this image and think, oh, look at that. It's Dr. Trump working for the Red Cross. Just, all those medical professionals that heal people with their glowing fucking hands. Also, again, nobody seems to be commenting about the fact that this guy looks like Jeffrey Epstein. It looks like he's bringing Jeffrey Epstein back from the dead. Like, I genuinely, this is such a mind-boggling picture to me. I find it difficult to comprehend. Like, okay, so this guy looks like Jeffrey Epstein. The two girls next to him look like fucking children. Like, what the fuck is this thing? This guy, fucking Gundam. They're like, what, the 5 horsemen of the apocalypse coming out of the sky? This is all fucked. This is an image of him forgiving Jeffrey Epstein. I forgive you for stealing my girl, he says.
Trump's decision to pit himself against the Catholic Church is certainly one of the decisions of all time.
This is all so stupid. It's all so stupid, and it's so dangerous, and it's so clear that, like, this man is falling apart mentally. Why is Common Writer in the background? He's just a big... Donald Trump's just a big fan of Common Writer. All right? I just... it's fucking insane, is what it is. Asked why he took down the photo, Mr. Trump said, "Normally I don't like doing that, but I didn't want to have anybody be confused. People were confused. Not me, though. I wasn't confused. Just people were confused. Everyone loved it and immediately knew what it was, but I didn't want to accidentally confuse like 5 people, so I took it down. You know, everything else I say is so clear." And this gets us to the reaction of MAGA world. Here's Riley Gaines. Why? Seriously, I cannot understand why he'd post this. Is he looking for a response? Does he actually think this? Either way, 2 things are true. 1, a little humility would serve him well, and 2, God shall not be mocked. And like, oh look, MAGA world correctly identified that Trump was posting an image of himself not as, oddly enough, a doctor working with the Red Cross, but instead as Jesus Christ. So just to be clear, not a joke. Not a joke. He thought he was very clearly a doctor. And of course, several hours later, Riley Gaines again. "I love the president. I'm so grateful he's in the Oval Office. Of course, I'll continue to support him and the America First agenda. At the end of the day, I do nothing for the approval of man. Our purpose on this earth is to glorify him in all we do. The Truth Social post missed the mark. It's now deleted. Amazing. But of course, I'll continue to support him and his America First agenda. But obviously, I serve God first. Not the president first, God first. But he took it down, so that's great. We're imperfect people. I know I am. I don't get my feelings hurt easily, and I know the president. It's not really it's really not personal. I want to spend eternity in a real place called heaven. I'd love for Trump to be there too. Heaven is for real, guys. Heaven is for real. Okay? They made a movie about it called Heaven is for Real. And a book also called Heaven is for Real. You don't think they would make they would make a book and a movie about a place that isn't real. Obviously it's for real. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. I'll keep doing my part and speaking truth and doing my best to lead others to Christ. And no, I won't be selling merch with his insults on them. Ha 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 ha. Only in the America conservative movement can you fail upward to the extent Riley Gaines has. Also, we've got some additional MAGA world reactions. Here's Jack Posobiec. Cardinal Prevost was promoted by Pope Francis, and given a prominent Vatican position during his papacy. We found Prevost's Twitter feed last year, where he was thrashing Trump and Vance, as well as border enforcement and praising George Floyd. Mike Cernovich chimes in. Mike Cernovich, by the way, prominent proponent of Pizzagate, the conspiracy theory that Hillary Clinton was ordering child pornography from a local DC pizza place called Ping Pong Pizza. A conspiracy theory, by the way, that wound up with a crazy man with an assault rifle going to the pizza restaurant and shooting it up. So that's cool. Cool that he's still around and somehow relevant in MAGA world. A lot of people in your replies are confused. Where does it say that the Pope's political proclamations must be given the weight of infallibility? I can't find any authority for that. I have to follow the Bishop of Rome's political comments? News to me as a lifelong Catholic! Like, these people are just, like, going fucking nuts. Huh. Me, a Catholic, listen to the Pope? Huh. You must be insane. What are you, a liberal? And I mean, like, I do think we're getting into some weird territory here, right? Here's Gunther Eagleman. President Trump just posted this powerful painting on Truth Social. Trump stands radiant in a red robe, laying hands on a sick man while surrounded by American symbols, the flag, eagles, fighter jets, the Statue of Liberty, and everyday heroes. We've gotten to a point here where these people worship Donald Trump more than they do their God. You know? That's what's happening here. And I want to share with you guys an article from the New Republic from 2023. Okay? And I think it really hits at what is happening right now in MAGA world. So we're gonna dive into this and talk about it a little bit. Also, Brian, maybe thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. Very much appreciated. Thank you very much for the support. And also, Soul Black Guy, thank you for the $5 super chat. Instead of the welfare safety net, we need to get rid of the right-wing safety net. We do. Corporate welfare is a huge drain on like our body politic. Get rid of corporate welfare and create like a sustainable welfare system for working people where you can actually live and get by in this country. Why should corporations that make billions of dollars be given, billions of dollars in subsidies by the US government? We need to knock that shit out. But I digress. Here's the article by Toria Otten. Also, Where is Waldo? Thank you for the gifted membership over on YouTube. Very much appreciated. Thank you for the support. Y'all keep making this channel possible. I'm so fucking grateful. Thank you so, so much. Okay? But Christianity Today editor, evangelicals call Jesus liberal and weak. Former evangelical leader is sounding the alarm about the direction his religion is headed in, right? And let's just take a look here. Moore told NPR in an interview released Tuesday that multiple pastors had told him that they would quote the Sermon on the Mount, specifically the part that says to turn the other cheek when preaching. Someone would come up after the service and ask, "Where did you get those liberal talking points?" What was alarming to me is that in most of these scenarios, when the pastor would say, "I'm literally quoting Jesus Christ," the response would not be, "I apologize." The response would be, "Yes, but that doesn't work anymore. That's weak," Moore said. When we get to the point where the teachings of Jesus himself are seen as subversive to us, we're in a crisis. Moore says he thinks a large part of the issue is how divisive U.S. politics are, which is now spilling over into the church. He pointed to how a lot of issues are packaged in terms of existential threat, leading to the belief among everyone, not just evangelical Christians, that desperate times call for desperate measures. And I think that that's basically like a microcosm of what is happening here. You are essentially seeing Donald Trump post potentially one of the most heretical claims you can make, which is that he is in fact Jesus. Like, this is like maybe one of the biggest red flags for an antichrist within the Christian faith, right? There's a reason why time and time again the Bible cautions people to be wary of false prophets. Because this is a way in which people can be very easily manipulated when you co-opt this religious energy. Wait, Pat Shannon writes, last week I literally had a Christian tell me the red parts of the Bible were supposed to be ignored because they're red. Oh, damn. Oh, damn. Yeah, look, for a while now, like as somebody, I grew up out of this fundamentalist Christian, faith, right? And I can tell you guys that even at my most, like my peak fervency for Christianity, I would have been able to identify that this is like a bastardization of like everything Christianity is supposed to be about. But the issue is evangelical Christians in America have effectively already schismed out of Christianity. Like we're not talking about like an actual Christian faith anymore. We're talking about maybe something we'd call like Americanism, We're talking about we're talking about people who have entirely decided that they want to disregard the person that their entire religion is founded on. You call yourself a Christian, and then you're like, "Oh, no, we're Christian, but we don't like that Christ guy." That's crazy. That's crazy. And like that's crazy even within the Christian framework. That's not talking about the fact that like we're not even like people. There are people that exist. I know this might come as a shock, who aren't Christian. Who are agnostic, who are atheists, who are Muslim, who are Jewish, who do not believe in these things, who are Hindu. Like you've got so many different kinds of belief systems out there that do not align with this. And yet The people who are professing to have faith in Christ want to ignore Jesus Christ. It doesn't even make sense from an outsider's perspective. They've lost their damn minds. It's true. It's true. Like, I do think, if you all want to know kind of my thoughts on this, play the game BioShock Infinite, okay? BioShock Infinite is basically a game about what is happening in conservative America world right now, okay? It's basically about an entire society that exists having elevated the idea of, like, America and melded it with fundamentalist religion to such an extent that, like, their nationalism is a religion that then literally flies around the world and bombs other countries into bits in order to continue and perpetuate their supremacy. And yes, it is also a game that tackles the idea of slavery and then the system of slavery. But yeah, it's a good game. It definitely has flaws when it comes to tackling this subject matter, but, like, worth a look. I would I would say. Yeah, exactly, Latzia. I think there were a lot of people who played BioShock Infinite and was like, this is a little bit too unsubtle. And yet here we are, like, 12 years later, and my God, it was a fucking prophecy. It does kind of butcher it near the end, but I think a lot of the commentary still holds. But maybe I'll play it on stream sometime. We'll talk about it as we go through it live. I think that'd be interesting. All that being said, I think this is also giving rise to a phenomenon I've talked about a bit, which is the rise of essentially a personalized relationship with your religion via AI chatbots. I talked a little bit about this over on Blue Sky, but, like, there's a reason why there is a faith-based tech boom right now. And it's because effectively a lot of people have been so alienated from, like, their everyday existence that they're going out there and being like, yeah, I'm willing to pay $2 per minute to talk with an AI amalgamation of Jesus Christ. For some evangelical Christians, faith is about having a personal relationship with Jesus. At $2 per minute, the tech company Just Like Me is taking that concept to a new level. Users of the platform can join video calls with an avatar of Jesus generated by artificial intelligence. Like other religious AI tools on the market, it offers words of prayer and encouragement in various languages. With the occasional glitch, it remembers previous conversations and speaks through not quite synced lips. You do feel a little accountable to the AI, CEO Chris Breed said. They're your friend. You've made an attachment. And I just want to say, this is one of the most disgustingly evil things I've ever read about in my life. Like, you feel accountable to the AI? You feel accountable to the AI that's masquerading as your god? That's fucking insane. Guys, we're getting like the cloth mother, wire mother monkey experiment all over again, but on human beings this time. It's we're in the bad place. This is I hate this. And keep in mind, we already have people who are giving into like religious delusions to the point that they're willing to kill their own families, to kill themselves. And now you have companies that are deliberately trying to tap into that specific type of thinking in order to, you know, as these things drive you insane, masquerading as your god and your friend at the same time. Also taking your wallet along with your sanity. Oh, God. I like, it makes me want to vomit, for real. This article then goes on to talk about a faith-based AI gold rush. And I gotta be honest, this is just fucking evil. I don't get how Christians don't call this crap out as idolatry, because a lot of Christians don't think about their faith. A lot of Christians value their faith, but for a lot of Christians, they show up to church, just passively, unthinkingly absorb what the pastor says, or the priest says, or the reverend says, and then, like, don't really think about it afterwards. They aren't critically engaging with the sermons. They just passively absorb information and then, like, go about their business. And so, if you're someone who hasn't spent a lot of time actually thinking about any of these issues of theology, then it can be incredibly easy to fall into this consumption-based idea of what it means to be a Christian. It's not that you're a Christian because of what you believe. It's not because you're not a Christian because of what you do. You are instead a Christian because of what you buy. And, like, I'm not saying, like, all Christians are unthinking automata who just passively absorb these things. This is a broader critique of, American culture in particular. The lack of media literacy in this country is not solely a Christian problem. It's a much wider problem than that. But in this particular circumstance, the people who are the target for AI Jesus or AI Buddha or, AI insert deity figure here are the same people for whom media literacy is a huge, huge problem. And, we'll talk about AI more later on today's show, but, like, AI specifically makes these problems worse in a myriad of different ways. And I think part of the demand for this is being driven by essentially people who have been, who believe that they are Christian, believe that they believe all the things a Christian believes, but ultimately value America and Donald Trump over their actual religious beliefs that they would profess. And so, I think that is why you get people turning to this. I mean, it's bad. Now, here is a senator out of Utah, I believe, or maybe Idaho, Bernie Moreno, Ohio. There we go. He said, "I was incensed to watch the Pope's comments. I think what the Pope is doing is a disgrace. It's a shame that the Pope has made the Catholic Church political. Thank God my mom's not alive to watch that." He says while defending the president that depicted himself as Jesus Christ. Everything is stupid. Everything is so stupid. Also, if you know anything about the Catholic Church and the papacy in particular, you know that it is not an apolitical institution whatsoever. Like, whatsoever. Historically, political as hell. All right? Literally political as hell. And, here's Donald Trump trying to explain it while standing next to DoorDash Grandma.
Mr. President, did you post that picture of yourself depicted as Jesus Christ?
Well, it wasn't depicted. It was me. I did post it, and I thought it was me as a doctor, and had to do with Red Cross as a Red Cross worker there, which we support. And only the fake news could come up with that one. So I just heard about it, and I said, how did they come up with that? It's supposed to be me as a doctor making people better, and I do make people better. I make people a lot better.
I do heal people, really. Maybe in a way I am kind of like Jesus Christ, like a doctor with my glowing hands. When I touch people, they get better. So much better. So cool. Anyway, all of this finally has mainstream media posting stories like this. It only took threatening a genocide and, threatening to use nuclear weapons and fighting with the Pope and claiming to be God. But finally, the New York Times thinks that maybe we should have some concerns about Donald Trump's erratic behavior. It finally happened. As the president threatens to wipe out Iran and attacks the Pope, even some former allies and advisors are questioning whether he has grown increasingly imbalanced, describing him as lunatic and clearly insane. Now, I do want to point out here that the lead up to the end here is wild. Even former allies and advisors are questioning whether he has grown increasingly unbalanced. This isn't questioning whether or not he has grown increasingly unbalanced. If somebody is calling him a lunatic and clearly insane, that isn't them saying, I don't know whether or not he's become more unbalanced. That is them saying he is very clearly insane. You can't get more clearly insane than someone saying clearly insane. Even in their final attempt to like open this subject, the New York Times is just woefully flaccid. It's crazy. Meme of a man standing up by himself. We should take him at his word because it's actually worse for him if we steel man him. Exactly, yeah. I just, like, this opening paragraph, it baffles me. President Trump's erratic behavior and extreme comments in recent days and weeks have turbocharged the crazy like a fox or just plain crazy debate that has followed him on the national political stage for a decade. He's just fucking crazy. It's not difficult to figure out. It's not difficult to wrap your head around. It's not difficult to see. He's literally calling himself God on social media. He said a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. This isn't the same debate that followed him around for a decade. You can watch videos from a decade ago where he's clearly a stupid man. He's a stupid man, but like he's not he's not fucking crazy. He's crazy as hell right now. It's wild to me. At the very least, the New York Times is now talking about it. You know, the final seal has been unleashed. And hopefully, we can get what we should have gotten the entire time, which is article after article, think piece after think piece about how this guy is a lunatic, is crazy. Because that should be the rest of Donald Trump's political career, being questioned about his mental competence. The media went after Joe Biden so much harder for his mental acuity than how it's going after Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is objectively worse. People were around Biden to tell him, no, that's a bad idea. No, that's a good idea. There's no one around Donald Trump stopping him from doing the worst impulses, right? The actual effect for us is worse than it was for under Biden. His brain is gone. I mean, some of the questions about Mr. Trump's soundness come from people who once worked with him and have since become critics. Even before the Civilization Post, Ty Cobb, a White House lawyer in Mr. Trump's first term, told the journalist Jim Acosta that the president is a man who is clearly insane and that his recent string of belligerent middle-of-the-night social media posts highlights the level of his insanity. Like, this man doesn't realize what he's doing. And I'm not trying to say Biden was worse, but Biden was better. What I'm trying to say is that they're both incredibly bad. They were both incredibly far gone. But there were elements around Biden that prevented the worst case scenario of his dementia to play out. There's none around Trump. He's a fucking lunatic. And I'm sorry, if someone is claiming to be God, that isn't just narcissism. It's not just narcissism. If someone starts claiming that they are God, there is something deeply, profoundly wrong with them. And he should not be in charge of anything. Except maybe his McDonald's order. Yeah, we're talking about fucking psychosis here. And I guess that's how we get Trump Christ. So I don't know. Hopefully by the end of the year, we aren't all going to be compelled by the newly created Office of Religious Compliance to become Americanists or die. Hopefully there's not going to be some kind of American Inquisition to discern who is and is not a real American. We're just living in the stupidest timeline run by a man who is far gone from sanity. And it is scary, and I don't like it. And I would really like this particular period of time to be done. Anyway, if you would like to help make sure that when we get out of this, we actually get meaningful change that makes it so that no one this crazy can ever hold office ever again, you need to get organized. So join your local DSA, take over your local Democratic Party, make your Democrats in your local area more progressive, make your DSA more effective. If you need help getting started on that journey, we have people in our community who have, pledged themselves to your cause to help you. So join our Discord, reach out to Dragonfly for help organizing your local Dems, reach out to Gamergy for help organizing your local DSA. We can help you get started. I know it's really intimidating the first time, but you know what? We've had so many, dozens and dozens and dozens of people get involved with their local Dems or their local DSA and attain positions of influence and make some really cool shit start happening.
The I am the chosen one comment that people dismissed as tedious. The right has thoroughly scared the media of the liberal bias stigma, and they won't call a spade a spade.
It's true, Brutus Magnuson. We're living in a time where the media is both scared of Trump and also wants to perpetuate Trump because his insanity gets them clicks. They're all driven by these profit machines. Thank you for the $10 super chat. So get organized, folks, because guess what? If enough of us get organized, we can create a system that will be able to remove this guy from office. If enough of us get organized, if enough of us win over seats in the House and the Senate in the midterms, it's possible that we might be able to convict and remove this clown, especially after the midterms no longer hold sway and Republicans start really jumping off the ship before the general election in 2028. So get organized, folks. We have the capacity to change the world. You have the capacity to keep your community safe against AI data centers and ICE, but you got to get organized. So 95% of the work is showing up at those meetings. Go do it. Also, folks, just want to say, if you got anything out of this, hit the like button, leave a comment. Comments longer than 8 words really helping the algorithm. Hit the subscribe button. And last but not least, check out ImageneOlivia.com. Gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes. Also tested with cis men, cis women, non-binary folks, etc. It is non-tucking lingerie that is elegant, beautiful, and sexy, and it will fit. So go check it out. ImageneOlivia.com, link down in the description, and let's keep on going.
Riverboat Jack is going to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube and Swishy streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, and plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord.